So, welcome to the show, Berkeley.
Thank you, Sarah. Glad to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. I mean, I have been learning so much about your company, and I cannot wait to share more about TransImpact with our listeners. So, without further ado, let's just dive in. Let's start with an overview. Give us a taste before we dive into more detail. What does TransImpact do, and how do you help your customers?
Great question. And there's a lot to talk about, so we're equally as excited to be here. We're an industry leader in end-to-end supply chain technology solutions that basically optimize for the sole reason to improve margin immediately,
Huh.
especially in the environment that we're in. We've got products that, whether it's parcel or freight or overall business continuity between those two modes, that we can analyze, we can help you identify efficiencies and ultimately improve your margin. So we kind of stay away from the soft costs. Let's get right into the hard costs and what's in your bank account.
I love that. And I know that the audience is going to love that as well. Can you give us a little bit of a glimpse into the Trans Impact story? How did you guys get started and get to this point?
Oh wow! So the two co-founders who actually sold the business and are have a great legacy that they left behind. We started in 2008, and the founders, me and several other key colleagues, were all former UPS or FedExers.
Ah, okay.
So the company was born out of a lot of parcel experience, and we started down the path of taking a lot of what was in our head, putting it into technology. And we were first chasing clients that have large spends with UPS and or FedEx. And we'd analyze their agreements, determine whether or not what they were receiving discount wise was market appropriate relative to what we knew. And we would say, hey, there's $1 million on the table. You feel like putting that back in your bank account? And if you do, we're the company to talk to. So
Nice.
the more generic term is that. And what's happened, Sarah, over the last 13 years is we've taken that foundation and we've morphed from some strong experience in negotiation and consultancy. And over 13 years later, we're now a technology company that has some pretty shrewd negotiators. So we got a lot of things to offer in that regard. But that's how we started. The back of a napkin, great idea. It was born off of a conversation that happened in a hotel and that type of situation. And here we are.
I love that story. And thank you so much for sharing that with us because it gives us a glimpse into where you started, where you are now, and what those 13 years have kind of looked like for you and how you've adapted to what's going on in the industry. So, you have a number of core solutions. And so, I really want to take a look at all of them if we can. Let's start with your parcel solutions. Talk us through those. What do they look like? What features can businesses expect and what are the benefits?
Good questions. So parcel is such a dynamic industry right now. It's extremely volatile. 2 years ago, before the volatility really was ramping up and ramping down, we were very successful with two products that we would bundle together. The first one is we were experts at parcel negotiation. So we would take a client's data, and those clients relatively had spends north of $500,000 a year in UPS or FedEx or some of the regionals. And we'd analyze it. And analyze it means we'd take a proprietary technology that we built over that last decade, and we'd inject the DNA of their package characteristics into our system. And our system would come back and spit out, hey, here's where they are today. Here's where the discount should be, and the overall savings is X. And so we would take that, and the real attractive offer that we have for our clients is there's no skin off their back yet. I have to perform, I have to
Right.
execute, and I have to go get the savings before I earn a penny. But more importantly, we would guarantee the cost reduction or you didn't have to pay it. So We'd guarantee the cost reduction down to a tenth of a point, and then we measured it. That was really the key, Sarah. So telling you is one thing, showing you is another, and I could do both.
Yeah.
So now I've saved them $1 million a year. They love it. We're best friends and we're high fiving, but there's a lot that goes in after that. So Parcel Spend Intelligence, which is the complement component, more 100% SaaS technology based, that takes all the data and it's decision making technology. So imagine you're a supply chain department, and a department really, it's not 15 or 20 people most of the time, it's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they're managing parcel and freight and truckload and less than truckload and ocean and air freight and all those things. They can't be masterful at all of them. They can't be experts at everything. And then you got a resource bandwidth. How many BI tools do I need to navigate? Just give me the answer, man. That's what Parcel Spend Intelligence does. You don't have to really navigate through anything. Our technology automatically identifies the areas where you can save money if you change behavior, if you change a decision, if you tweak this. Here's the result, and here's how much you'll save. Go do it. So between saving you through negotiation experience and technology, and then taking that technology and giving you the decisions after the fact of what you need to do to continue to save and optimize, truly continual optimization, that makes up a very strong and compelling story of our Parcel program. All technology based, but then you got the experts to help you through it.
Well, and it started with you putting your money where your mouth is. I mean, that's really what this is all about, right? Is that we want partners who are so involved in what they're doing that they would put their money where their mouth is to help us. And so that's really the key component of the first half of that story. And then I think, being able to have simulations, right? Being able to take a look at where you are now, going through a couple of months and then seeing where you need to be or where you should be is amazing without really having to pick up the phone, send an email, go back and forth. Like that just takes up way too much time. And like you said, most people just don't have the resources right now.
It's unbelievable, to be honest with you. What the two reasons that we run into of why a potential client would not want to work with us have nothing to do with us. They have nothing to do with our technology or our ability to execute. It's got to do with, hey, you guys, I've been around the block for 25 years. I've been negotiating with UPS and FedEx since you were green. There's no way there's $1 million on the table. And when we tell them there is, and then we say, look, you don't pay us, we'll show you. And then we do, then they're believers. So you nailed it. That's exactly what's built this company, is the ability to execute on what I promise.
Well, and I think one of the other worries that maybe the audience might have is the impact on the carriers. So if they want to keep all their same carriers, they can, right? It doesn't impact those relationships because you're behind the scenes. So if brands are listening and worried about additional risk during this period of disruption and are potentially worried about rocking the boat, do they really need to be worried about that? Talk me through that.
Great question. Love to talk about this. Our technology and our expertise has nothing to do with influencing you one way or the other. In fact, the conversation's the adverse. We say, look, we don't care whether you want to use UPS or FedEx. The savings is on the table regardless of which carrier you choose. Their networks are very equivalent. Their cost structures are very equivalent. So which one do you want to use? How's your carrier relationship today? You love them? Great. That means we love them and we'll keep them there. We're just going to go save you a whole bunch of money with that existing carrier. So it doesn't matter to us which carrier they use. We're not in the business to dictate supply chain solutions. We can execute no matter which carrier they choose, and we build our strategy around that. So behind the scenes means a couple different things. UPS and FedEx are great companies, and they provide a great service to their clients, and we don't want to disturb that. I want a relationship directly with my clients, and it's a natural thing that our clients want a relationship directly with UPS and FedEx.
Yeah.
I'm behind the scenes giving them the playbook. Hey, I've been around the block. I know what it is. Here's the game plan. Here's how to execute, and that's the touchdown right there. So that's kind of what behind the scenes means, is we're feeding them the information based on what we know is available in the market and how to get it.
I love that analogy, bringing it back to sports, which a lot of people can resonate with. But there's a lot of challenges at the moment in this space with booming e-commerce, carrier capacity, customer expectations, supply chain complexity. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on. I mean, I thought we left this back in 2021. We're still talking about this in 2022. So, what have you seen from your perspective and that of your customers over the last 2 years? Really embracing these challenges and helping them move through those.
It's changed our business. It really has, and I'll tell you why. You know, inside every company, I'll tell you what we call these type of clients, but inside every company, you got these set of clients. We call ours stretch clients. And what a stretch client is to us is, here's the box we live in today. You're asking me to do something that I typically don't do, and you're going to stretch me out of that box, and now I'm going to standardize it, productize it, and now I can send it to the whole world. Our stretch clients over the last couple of years have said, hey, look, I love that you saved me $1 million a year, and you did. But now UPS and FedEx, I've got a capacity issue, and I don't even care if I save that money anymore. I want my product from A to B because my clients matter than me saving $2 per package. Mm-hmm. So what came out of that was a multi-carrier parcel program that we've built around that. So now our technology can tell a client, how much business can we take out of the UPS and FedEx network without hurting your existing discounts and agreement? Where does that zonal distribution fit with all the other regional players in the mix? How does it affect time in transit, cost per package, and ultimately you making that decision? How does it affect your client? I can put that back in their hands. So what was born out of this disaster and this really capacity constraints of unprecedented periods in our time in Parcel, never, ever has this happened where UPS and FedEx have said, I don't want your business. I don't want your kind of business. So now we're taking a different approach. We're not only saving the money that they're using or giving UPS and FedEx, we're giving them an entirely different opportunity to alleviate capacity concerns and still save money, or at least be cost neutral, and maybe improve time in transit and maybe improve cost per package and get more volume. So if e-commerce is blowing up, everybody that is buying that consumer product, all that consumption can't fit within the same networks. Something's got to give. And this is the program we came up with. And it's been really well received.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, you arm them with this information for them to be able to make better decisions. They not only trust the system and trust the solutions that are coming out of that system, they're then putting those in place. And like you said, saving in various different areas, or at least becoming neutral, but being able to make those decisions and not being stuck without that kind of visibility.
The problem that our clients have today is, I mean, they're smart. All of them are smart. It's not that they can't figure this out. They don't have the technology or the tools to figure it out. They know that, hey, I can give additional volume to one of these other players, but how much do I do? How much is it impacting me? Yes. And look, at the end of the day, when I'm writing checks, that's the bottom line. That's what we can provide.
Love it. I love it. So, when I was doing research for this particular conversation, you say that complexity leads to opportunity. What do you mean by that? And how does TransImpact facilitate that opportunity?
Well, we addressed that with e-commerce and capacity. Let's talk about it from a technology perspective. The world of freight is not universally technologically advanced. Yeah. Less than truckload and truckload, they got some catching up to do with Parcel when it comes to technology, the ability to extract data, all those kinds of things. Now throw in ERPs and finance accounting platforms. You've got multiple disparate systems out there. That's a very complex deal. And here's what our clients tell us. I don't need another BI tool, Berkley. They're a dime a dozen. I like yours. I do. I don't want to have to navigate it. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. I've got two already. You're the expert. You got my data. Just give me the decision. So we've got a SaaS plus model, Sarah, where our technology takes not only the information that we have that they've given us in their own ecosystem, the parcel data, the freight data, okay? Now we're marrying that data up that they can't do internally. I'm taking their cost of goods sold, I'm taking their P&Ls, matching it up to all of the freight spend. And now I'm saying to the client, hey, the largest volume client that you have that you ship the majority of your products to, you thought you were making 3 pennies on the dollar. I've married it all up, guys. You're losing 7 cents on the dollar. I can tell them which clients to fire.
Wow.
Not that we want to fire clients, but
Right.
the point is I'm marrying up data for the first time they've never been able to do through our technology. And now I'm giving them a true profitability perspective. I'm going to give you the best rates in the world on your parcel and your freight. That's Sesame Street. We do that every day. But I'm going to give you the decisions you need to make to improve your business, your margins.
So then why are we taking it so slowly when it comes to digitization and embracing new technologies that can help us do this? I mean, on one hand, you're saying that they're overwhelmed because they've got a ton of different systems, they're not talking to each other, or they already have a couple in place, versus I'm still using Excel spreadsheets. Where are we really and how do we address all of this really to move this forward?
Well, you got a couple of different lines of thought there. First and foremost, you're always going to run into if it's not broken, why am I going to try and fix it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're selling a different in a different way. But let me talk about the majority. That's not the majority. That it's not. People are looking to get out of Excel. Let's say that right now. The reason it's not going so fast. This is an advantage we have, and look, this was a happen chance through an acquisition that we made last year. We knew that clients had a resource burdened issue in IT. There's not an IT department on the earth that doesn't have a laundry list that is continuously added to and stricken off. It's just hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to and sell my products to a supply chain executive or a financial executive, and now they got to bring in an IT or technology executive to give me the keys to the kingdom and start putting this all together. Well, then it starts going like this. Well, wait a minute. I'm scared about it. I'm scared. So the long-winded answer, but in short, there's an IT resource issue that we see with clients, but we've got a client solutions department. Here's the beautiful thing about our technology. All of our technology can be implemented depending on the complexity. I'm going to give you the low and the high range is 3 to 8 weeks. So it's like this. In 3 to 8 weeks, I can take you out of the Stone Age and put you in a future-focused technology platform that's going to give you information you've never had before. It's going to give you the ability to make a decision you never knew how to make previously. And this isn't hard. Our technology, we put a lot of effort in there, years of advanced, architecture in building it out. But the overall premise of why we should implement it versus staying in the spreadsheet world, that's an easy sell. The more difficult sell is the IT resources of the world say, well, look, I can build it. They never can.
Right.
It's because they've got something else on their plate, or they realize it's too complex. They've got a decade in building this platform out, and I'm going to try to build it in 6 months and make it the best it could be. So that's some of the issue that we run into, but it's not a showstopper.
Well, and thank you for sharing that because I know people are going to be sitting in the audience thinking, yes, that's the exact challenge that I have. Now, how do I get over it? And it sounds like you guys have solved for that for your clients and made it a lot easier for them to work with you. Now, how do you integrate? How well do you integrate with those other systems that we've been talking about?
So, great question. We've got the ability. We've got a very strong platform built in Microsoft Power BI. That's where all of our business intelligence comes from. And when we integrate being, I don't care if you're using Sage on the finance side of the house. I don't care if it's Manhattan on the ERP. It doesn't matter. We can integrate with a rock. That's not the issue. We set up a call with the client, and all we need is the key players on the call. All we need is the mapping exercise of the data. We build that out. We got a team of 42 professionals, and all they do is plug and play our technology into these disparate systems. And 3 to 8 weeks later, you're off and running. It's over. All I'm doing is building the roadmaps. There's no restrictions on what you're using today, what you're trying to implement. We run into situations all the time where, well, my ERP's got a BI tool, but I hadn't plugged it in. It's like this. You can't engage with a one shop fits everybody and they're going to be masterful at it. I mean, we've got certain things that I can say, hey, on the supply chain consulting side, we've got some engineering that we can help you with warehouse layout. Am I the best on the planet? And is that where my core competency is? No. It's the equivalent with ERPs. If you want visibility, if you want true visibility between all your systems, I'm masterful at that. That's what you need to talk to me about, and I got the team to implement it. So you don't have to worry about your burden. You can have oversight. You can say yes, 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 no, but I got the team to do it. All you got to do is just give me a little crack in that door.
Well, and let's talk about that because data is really, really important to what you're talking about as visibility. And I know that businesses have really kind of struggled with data, right? Good data, bad data. What data do we actually need so that they can gain insight to forecast and plan and make real data driven decisions, which is what we're talking about today. So, how does TransImpact help with that? Does that come in the initial conversation where you're talking about what actually needs to be done? Does that happen the mapping conversations? Walk me through that.
Everybody's heard the adage, what you put into a system is a result of what you get out of it. Garbage in, garbage out. We've all said that.
Yeah.
Answering your question, every time a client engages with us, this is just the evolution of the client journey with us. It's not something special that we do. Every time we engage, we're instantly going to tell them where the bad data is so they can clean it up. And the reason we do that is once we start implementing our technology and our technology starts having gaps, the marriage isn't there, we start seeing that and we say, well, look, number one, we're not even using the tool yet and we've identified the root cause of the problem. We're going to fix these 3 things while we're in there. Then the moment we're done, all the clean data is coming. Huh. So the dirty data is part of the implementation process. I mean, that's going to be immediately identified once we start connecting the dots. And once we do that, it's almost like I need that BI tool you got, but I have bad data. That's not a problem. We're going to clean the data up as we're integrating into the tool. So it's part of the process, and it happens with every client. You wouldn't believe, Sarah, the amount, and this, reserving the names because we love all our clients. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in supply chain spend with some of our clients, and you wouldn't believe the left hand not knowing what the right hand knows, and you wouldn't believe how disconnected they are, and you would not believe how much data that they do not have.
Right.
And the reason I say they don't have it is because it's bad. It's terrible data. So cleaning it up along the way, we flush it out. It's part of the process.
I think I just heard a collective sigh of relief because a lot of time when we talk about, technology solutions and I'm speaking to supply chain professionals, they're like, well, my data needs to be at a certain level before I can really talk to these technology providers. And what you're saying is, just give it all to me and then I'll do an audit and let you know where you're at. We'll clean up a few things for you and your data doesn't need to be where you think it needs to be for you to work with us.
That's exactly right. What happens is you get intimidated or overwhelmed with the project, and that's not the intent. We're going to tell you exactly what we need to do, and we can take it in phases and baby steps. The beautiful part about this is the day that we implement, whether you got the dirty data or the clean data, it doesn't matter. The day that we implement, our tool is 85% ready to go, and we can live right there. We'll clean up the data, but we can live right there. The other 15% is because that client gets they start getting that ether effect. They get so excited about the tool, they start saying, can it do this? Can it do that? What about that? This is the kind of report I want. That's where that other 15% gets customized. But
Right.
that 85%, most of our clients just live in that world right there. But 15% just get crazy. They want to go nuts because it's a feeding effect.
Can you imagine you get on a phone with them and they're just like, I want this and I want that. And you're like, okay, okay.
They've
Um,
never had it before. It's one of those things where I've been trying to get this for 2 years. I'm finally going to get it, and you're not going away from me right now. I want all these other things. Yeah.
That is awesome. I can hear your passion for it. I can hear their passion for it. I mean, the two of them coming together must be amazing. So I'm sitting in the audience and I'm kind of wondering, what do I need to look like to be a customer of yours? So walk me through an ideal client and what that looks like.
Let's talk about it in three different sectors. Let's call it. Let's start with Parcel. On the advisory side, if you're looking to save money through your agreement, through better discounts, we're looking for a half a million in spend. We'd love for our clients to be in and around that because it's not that we can't do it for a $200,000 spend client. It's that it's probably not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze on both sides of the house.
Right.
So $500,000 there, on the freight side, managed transportation side, managed logistics. We're looking at $1 million in spend with a client, and that's the supply chain components. The technology components don't care what your volume of spend is. I've got a product for you, depending on what's your tier level. You want to start the beginner, you want to go the more advanced and the expert tier, or where do we need to live? We're not big on overselling because our products, if you're trying to over engineer a product for a smaller client that doesn't need it, it's of no benefit. You're paying for something you don't need. We don't want to do that. We've got a product for all of them. But our technology products, definitely our SaaS-based products, it's probably, I'd say if I had to throw out a range, 50,000 in spend. And let me talk about our business performance solutions, which are the ones that marry up the data.
Yeah.
We're looking for, annual revenues in the, 50 million plus, to where this is the kind of business intelligence is going to be, magnify a lot of your issues. And I got several modules on that. I got inventory modules. I've got inventory optimization products. I've got supply chain products, finance products, sales and order products. I got it. I got it. Just tell me what you need.
Tell me what you need and give Berkley a call, or at
That's
least
right.
transimpact.com. No, I like that. And I like the fact that you've got multiple different products for multiple different kind of clients. And so you can really tailor that solution depending on what they're looking for, either in the spend category or in the business intelligent category, and kind of everything in between. So let's get into a case study then. And because like you say that you're relentlessly focused on turning your customers into raving fans, which we've talked about a little bit throughout this conversation. So why don't you paint us a picture of how you've worked with a key customer? What was their challenge? Which solution were they working with, and which solution did you provide? And then what was the impact or ROI of that?
All right. So I love talking about the case studies. So
Me
good
too. It's my
question.
favorite part.
I've got two that come to mind. It's worth noting, Sarah, we've got an advisory board. We started an advisory board, it's 10 of our best, most challenging clients that over the years have said, can you do this? Why aren't you doing that? That kind of stuff. They step on our toes, they hurt our feelings, and we want them doing that to make us better. And we meet once a year. And one of the things that they've really communicated strongly over the last three is this SaaS Plus that I keep talking about. You've got my data, you've got the tools. I don't want to worry about navigating. Tell me what the decision is. So the first case study is it's actually an advisory board company. We've negotiated their parcel agreement for them 3 times. We've probably saved them north of $2.5 million over those collective 3 agreements. Hard dollar savings back in their bank account. But then it goes to, I don't have the time to sit in front of a computer, nor am I going to pay a resource to do it, to make sure that I'm always optimizing, because here, Berkley, I'm growing 25% a year. I'm injecting 15 products into my portfolio every single year, which have different dimensions,
Mhm.
different impacts on my parcel spend, different accessorial charges are going to be assessed. All those things that clients typically, once they negotiate an agreement, Sarah, they file it away. Okay, I just finished my negotiation. I'm putting in an agreement. I'll have to address it for the next 3 years. But over those 3 years, things are changing. I mean, just think about if I signed an agreement the year before COVID and then COVID happened and e-commerce boomed and now my capacity, you're excited about that 40% growth in your business, but you're not paying attention to parcel and
Right.
what it's affecting. So that same client that we saved about $2.5 million in the parcel advisory, they're on our parcel spend intelligence platform too. And we've had one of our SaaS Plus client success reps. They started digging into the data, and there's one change this client made, one, based on the advice we given them from using this tool. And it said, hey, you've got a package that's getting bumped up into an oversized charge spend. And all you got to do is cut that package down 1 inch, and it's $150,000 a year savings.
Wow.
1 inch.
Wow.
Boom. And they're believers for life. They love the PSI. They love the advisory. They love the SaaS Plus. They've got the parcel police in the background looking at their data. The next one I've got is around the network optimization. So we've got a client that's very interested in our inventory optimization platform that they're going to look at next year. And part of that is network optimization. Well, what do I mean by that? They're one of the ones that are being impacted. It's a huge global golf brand, and they're being impacted by accessorial charges from the carriers and capacity.
Mm.
Carriers don't want an ugly package. And if they get it, ugly means it's big, it's light, it's bulky, it takes up a lot of room in my assets. They want a small box of bolts. It's very dense. It takes up very little room. It's very heavy. It's a very profitable package.
Right.
Well, when you're a golf company, you got bags, very lightweight, very big. You got golf clubs, very long, these kinds of things. But they're having a capacity issue with the carrier.
Mm.
And they said, how much can I take out? I still enjoy the carrier. I don't want to lose them. And I don't want to lose my rebate and all my discounts. What can I take out? And when I do take it out, you know where I'm located. Here's my 3 facilities. Before we optimize the inventory of where it needs to go, or can we do it in parallel, which was the actual question. I want to do these things in parallel. How much volume can I take out? Where does it need to go? And what's the financial impact to me? And I don't want to do any of that, TransImpact. You do it. So our network optimization study does just that. And what it resulted in is we've identified we can reduce their cost per package, which they didn't think they were doing. They could do because we're going to take volume away from the carrier.
Right.
I'm going to improve their time in transit, and I'm going to reduce their inventory carrying costs because they were carrying way too much inventory in their one hub, their headquarters.
Yeah.
Now we're slimming up all around the block. We're basically optimizing to improve margin, which is what we do. If I nailed it in one sentence, that's what we do. So the network optimization and the inventory optimization paired together, I can tell you how much you should be carrying, and I can tell you where to put it, what mode to send it in, what service level to send it in, what's the time in transit, and how much you're going to pay, and how does that relate to what you're doing today.
Wow.
And before we do all that, you don't have to move a muscle. Let me get all the figures first, then we'll push the button.
Put your money where your mouth is.
That's right. That's right.
I love those stories. Thank you so much for sharing that because it shows the different components that you have to your platform and your technology and how they've helped in different ways with the kind of the same type of results, right? Making sure that things are more efficient, bringing those margins, increasing those margins, slimming things down, especially on the inventory side, and they all relate to each other, right? Because the inventory optimization then rolls into some of the parcel that you're doing as well, and it just creates an impact throughout the organization, which is why you're called TransImpact, I'm pretty sure.
That's right. That's exactly right. You said something, and I'll kind of touch on it very briefly, Sarah. We've got our vision in our company, our client journey is we've got optimization, inventory optimization, network, parcel. Then we're going to execute. I've got the ability to print out those labels and do your freight pay and audit. And then we're going to give you the visibility on the bottom of not only the visibility to your parcel and supply chain data, the visibility into your profitability. And then ultimately, those three segments impact margin. So optimize to improve margin. That's what we do. There's no soft costs in our game. If you want to talk about saving money and when you log into your bank account, you see it, I'm the company you talk to.
Nice. And the results are pretty much, right away, which is great. So let's talk about the future. What does the future hold for Trans Impact? And what do you think about the parcel industry or the logistics industry moving forward?
Oh man, it's so much business out there. There's a just underutilized, or let me say it like this, Sarah, in the inventory optimization space, that's an area that lacks focus in organizations. Most companies are carrying way too much inventory and they think they're going to have this excess inventory or this amount of inventory so that they can fulfill the sales orders. That's the wrong approach. That inventory optimization piece and network optimization, that's the new up and coming two pieces of the supply chain that absolutely will go gangbusters in the next 5 years. It was UPS and FedEx, and you had regionals 10 years ago. You had them. But now all that attention is focused on them because of the capacity issues. So between these two optimization components, our future is going to be acceleration of our SaaS-based products, our technology, like
Mhm.
that inventory and that network and that parcel, and then the visibility tools. Everybody talks about visibility, but visibility to what? Tracking my package or
Exactly.
what? How much am I making? Am I losing money? Am I making money? Put all the systems together. What's the puzzle pieces? So our future will be in our SaaS-based products to do just that.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see what you do in the future because it sounds like you've got some raving customers already, and you're just going to have them raving even more. And so I'm kind of disappointed to bring the discussion to a close because I think that I could talk to you all day. And what you're doing over at Trans Impact is really exciting. You have such a huge footprint on the industry. I think when I did the research for this, it says 1 out of 4 addresses in the US receive a package audited by TransImpact, which is huge. But your ethos is really one of partnership, integrity, of creating value, and of driving an industry that is a beneficial place for all of us. So I'm really looking forward to see what comes next. And if you want to find out more, you can check them out over at transimpact.com. A big thank you to Berkley and obviously the team over at TransImpact for making this episode happen today.
Sarah, thanks for having us. Always a pleasure to speak with you. Can't wait to the next episode.